My mom lied about my sister's accident and hospitalization to drain my savings, so I finally ended our relationship. A year later, she's at my doorstep, asking if family means anything to me. I was 12 years old when I watched Despicable Me for the first time, and it inspired me, but not for the reason you're thinking. You see, as I watched Gru provide for the 3 girls that later became his daughters, I realized my purpose in life, to provide for my family, because at that point, it was just me, my mom, and my 3 younger sisters. And my mom was working so much that we didn't even get to see her, because even on the days she had off, she had to take advantage of them to catch up on sleep. So I basically fulfilled the role of my sister's father figure. I was 14 when I started earning around $5 an hour for a makeshift DIY daycare, but I always hated how little I had to provide my siblings with. Fast forward to when I finally graduated from college. My friend helped me get a job in his dad's firm as a paralegal, and I was making around $70,000 a year. So using the signing bonus, I moved into an even worse area than the one I grew up in, because I wanted to send home as much money as possible. By cutting down expenses to the bare minimum, I was able to send home over 60% of my paycheck every month. My mom was able to finally move out of the 2-bedroom apartment, and my sisters all had a better life than me. She'd send me photos of all of them going on holiday for the first time, and whenever I felt like sleeping in or calling in sick to work, I would look through all of our saved media on WhatsApp. It was infinite motivation, and a few months into my job, my youngest sister Lily, 16, fell ill. Apparently she had a chest infection, and my mom wanted to borrow some money to get her seen. Cool. I had a little in savings, so I simply upped the amount I sent home for the month. But over the next while, more and more expenses started to pop up. She'd crash her car, needed to pay for a school trip, needed to get housing renovations. It got to the point where I had $0 left in my savings account and was eating ramen noodles for almost every meal, all whilst working 60 hours a week. I wanted to keep going, but I knew if I didn't cut back a little, then there would be no money left for anyone. So that weekend, I drove to my mom's house. It was the first time I had been since I graduated. The first thing I noticed was the Mitsubishi car in the driveway. Meanwhile, I drove a 2010 Ford Focus. I tried to overlook it, not wanting my ego to get to me. And as soon as I opened the front door, my second youngest sister, Margot, 17, ran up to me. "So you have any gifts for us?" I thought it was a joke, but when I shook my head, she rolled her eyes like she was actually annoyed. When I walked inside, my mom greeted me with a hug. "Thank you for everything you've done for us, son. We love you." I hugged her back and felt a wave of pride wash over me. But like I said, if I didn't cut back, then there would be no money left for anyone. So I did what I had to do. I told my mom I would have to start sending home 40% of my paycheck home instead of 60%. Her face went ghost white, but I figured it was just the fear of losing money that being poor gives you. So when I explained, I expected her to be understanding. Instead, her eyes were glued to the ground and her cheek rested against her hand, like she was extremely fed up with me. "Okay," was the only word she said before getting up and escorting me outside. "Mom, I'm really sorry. It's only temporary. I just need to make sure I'm eating properly." I said okay, she interrupted, before slamming the door in my face. The next morning, I was going to individually text my sisters with an apology, and that's when I noticed they had all unfollowed me. I was instantly filled with rage, but not towards them, towards myself, because I was ashamed. I thought it was my fault for not working hard enough, for not getting a better job. So that same day, I put all of my non-work clothes on Depop and bought the cheapest clothes I could find to replace them. Gave every penny of what I sold to my mom, in the hopes that she would see that I really do care about her. I even borrowed some money from friends to buy my sisters new iPhones and laptops, but it wasn't until 2 months later that my mom finally texted me back. She sent me a photo of Lily in the hospital. She was covered in bandages and looked really hit up. Turns out she had gotten in a car accident. The next text was her begging for money to pay the hospital bills and get her better treatment. I just stared at my phone. I had nothing left to give, literally nothing. I texted back asking what happened to the thousands of dollars I had already spent. She was typing for 20 minutes and ended up not answering. Well, I figured if I didn't have any money to send, then I at least owed her my time. So I drove to the house, expecting at least one of my sisters to be there. But when I opened the door, I was wrong, because my entire family was there, including Lily, who was running around the place and perfectly healthy. That's when it finally hit me. The photo was photoshopped, and this entire time, I had been scammed by my own mother. I stood there frozen, watching Lily chase her other sisters around the living room, completely healthy. No bandages, no injuries, just pure, carefree energy. My hands started shaking as the reality crashed down on me like a ton of bricks. My mother noticed me first. Her eyes went wide, and she quickly stepped between me and my sisters. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice sharp. I couldn't speak. My throat felt like sandpaper. I just held up my phone, showing her the photo she'd sent me, the fake hospital photo. Her face didn't even flinch. "I asked you what you're doing here," she repeated, crossing her arms. "The photo," I finally managed to croak out. "You said Lily was in the hospital." She glanced at my phone phone and shrugged. My WhatsApp was hacked. I didn't send that. The lie came so easily to her, so naturally, like she'd rehearsed it 1,000 times. Behind her, my sisters had stopped playing and were now staring at me. Lily looked confused. Margot looked annoyed. The other two just seemed uncomfortable. Your WhatsApp was hacked, I repeated slowly, tasting the absurdity of the words. And someone just happened to send me a photoshopped picture of Lily asking for money? My mother's jaw tightened. I don't appreciate your tone. After everything I've done for you, raising you, and this is how you treat me? Accusing me of things? Everything you've done for me? The words exploded out of me before I could stop them. I've been sending you 60% of my paycheck. I've been eating ramen for every meal. I sold my clothes. I borrowed money to buy them gifts. I pointed at my sisters, my voice cracking. Nobody asked you to do that, my mother said coldly. You chose to, and now you come here making accusations because you're bitter about your own choices? I felt like I was going insane, like the world had flipped upside down, and I was the only one who noticed. I looked at my sisters, searching for any sign of support, but they all avoided my eyes. I'm leaving, I said, turning toward the door. Good, my mother called after me. And don't bother coming back until you're ready to apologize. I drove home in a daze. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. When I got back to my apartment, I collapsed on my mattress on the floor and stared at the ceiling. The same water stains I'd been looking at for months stared back at me. My phone started buzzing. Text after text flooded in from Margot. I can't believe how selfish you are. Mom told us everything. You show up accusing her of lying after she raised you alone? You should be ashamed. From my second oldest sister. We sacrificed so much growing up, and now that you have money, you act like this? You abandoned us. From my third sister. I thought you were better than this. Mom is crying because of you. Each message felt like a knife twisting deeper into my chest. I wanted to scream, to throw my phone against the wall, to explain everything. But what was the point? They'd already chosen their side. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I turned off my phone and tried to sleep, but sleep wouldn't come. My mind kept replaying everything. Every sacrifice, every skipped meal, every extra shift I'd picked up thinking I was helping my family. The next morning, I made a decision. I wasn't sending another penny home, not until I got answers. I texted my mother, I'm not sending any more money until we talk about where it's all been going. Her response came within minutes. Fine, your sisters will suffer because of your selfishness. I hope you're happy. I almost caved right then. The guilt was suffocating, but I held firm. I had to. 3 days passed in silence. Then, on Thursday evening, there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, Lily stood there, looking nervous and small. Hi, she said quietly. Lily, what are you doing here? How did you even get here? I took the bus, she said. Can I come in? I stepped aside, still shocked. She walked in and looked around my apartment, her eyes taking in the bare walls, the mattress on the floor, the stack of ramen packages in the corner. This is where you live? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Yeah, I said, suddenly embarrassed. It's not much, but it's worse than our old apartment, she interrupted. The one we had before you started sending money. I didn't know what to say to that. Lily sat down on the floor, pulling her knees to her chest. I need to tell you something, she said. But you can't tell Mom I told you. My heart started racing. What is it? She took a deep breath. We were never as poor as Mom said. Even before you started sending money, she had savings. She wanted more. The room started spinning. What do you mean? She's been buying stuff, Lily continued, her words tumbling out faster now. Designer bags, jewelry. She goes to the spa every week. She took us to Disney World last month but told us not to post about it anywhere you could see. Disney World. While I was eating ramen and working 60-hour weeks, they went to Disney World. Why are you telling me this? I asked, my voice hollow. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Because it's wrong. What she's doing is wrong, but I'm scared. If she finds out I told you. She won't, I promised. I won't say anything. Lily nodded, wiping her eyes. I should go. She thinks I'm at a friend's house. I walked her to the bus stop, my mind reeling. After she left, I sat in my apartment and tried to process everything. My own mother had been scamming me, using my love for my family against me, and my sisters. Did they all know? Were they all in on it? I decided to keep my word to Lily and not confront my mother about what she'd told me, but I also decided I was done sending money. Completely done. The next morning, my phone exploded again, but this time, it wasn't just texts. My mother had taken to social media. Some children forget where they came from, her post read. I raised my son alone, sacrificed everything for him, and now that he has a good job, he abandons his family. He'd rather live his life than help his struggling mother and sisters. I'm heartbroken, but God will judge. The comments poured in. Family, friends, distant relatives, people from our old neighborhood, all condemning me, all calling me selfish, ungrateful, a terrible son. How could you do this to your mother? She gave you everything, and this is how you repay her? Shame on you, your poor sisters. I watched my reputation crumble in real time. People I'd known my whole life were turning against me. Some even messaged me directly, telling me how disappointed they were. I wanted to defend myself, to tell my side, to post screenshots of my bank statements showing how much I'd sent, but I knew it wouldn't matter. My mother had gotten her story out first, and that's all that mattered. I went to work, but I couldn't focus. My boss noticed noticed and pulled me aside. "Everything okay?" he asked. "You seem distracted." I almost laughed. Distracted was an understatement, but I just nodded and promised to do better. That evening, as I sat in my apartment eating yet another bowl of ramen, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello? Is this Marcus?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes. Who's this?" "This is your Aunt Patricia, your mother's sister." I sat up straighter. I barely knew Aunt Patricia. She and my mother had fallen out years ago, and I'd only met her a handful of times as a kid. "Hi," I said cautiously. "What can I do for you?" "I saw your mother's posts," she said, "and I wanted to talk to you. Can we meet?" An hour later, I sat across from Aunt Patricia in a small coffee shop. She looked older than I remembered, with gray streaking through her hair, but her eyes were sharp and knowing. "Your mother is lying," she said without preamble. "I know because she's done this before." My coffee cup froze halfway to my lips. "What?" Aunt Patricia sighed. "Years ago, she did the same thing to your Uncle Robert, convinced him to send her money every month, claimed she was struggling. He sent thousands before he found out she was using it to fund her lifestyle." "Why didn't anyone tell me?" I asked, anger bubbling up. "We tried," she said gently, "but your mother cut us all off, told everyone we were jealous, trying to break up her family." Sound familiar? It did. It sounded exactly like what was happening now. "She's very good at this," Aunt Patricia continued. "At manipulation, at playing the victim. She did it to our parents too before they passed. Always had some crisis, some emergency that required money. So what do? I asked, feeling lost. "You protect yourself," she said firmly, "and you don't let her guilt you into giving her another penny." I thanked Aunt Patricia and left the coffee shop feeling both validated and terrified. Her words echoed in my head as I drove back to my apartment. My mother had done this before, to multiple people. I wasn't crazy or ungrateful. I was just her latest victim. Over the next few days, I tried to go about my normal routine, but the social media attacks intensified. My mother posted old photos of us from when I was young, captioning them with heartbreaking messages about how she never thought her firstborn would abandon her. Friends from college started reaching out, asking if I was okay, if the posts were true. My co-worker Samuel pulled me aside during lunch. "Hey man, I saw some stuff online," he said awkwardly, "about your family situation. You need to talk?" I shook my head, not trusting myself to speak without breaking down. The isolation was suffocating. Every notification on my phone made my stomach drop, wondering if it was another relative calling me a monster or another post painting me as the villain. Then, a week after cutting off the money, my phone rang at 2 a.m. It was my second oldest sister. "Mom's in the hospital," she said, her voice shaking. "She collapsed at home. The doctors say it's stress-related. This is your fault." I sat up in bed, my heart pounding. "Is she okay?" "What hospital?" "St. Mary's. But don't you dare come here. You've done enough damage." The line went dead. I stared at my phone, torn between rushing to the hospital and staying away. What if this was real? What if the stress of everything had actually made her sick? But then I remembered Lily's words, Aunt Patricia's warning. Still, the doubt gnawed at me. I couldn't go back to sleep. Instead, I called St. Mary's Hospital directly. "I'm calling about my mother," I said to the receptionist. "She was supposedly admitted tonight." After giving her name and some verification details, the receptionist paused. "I'm sorry, sir, but we have no patient by that name admitted tonight." My blood ran cold. Another lie, another manipulation. But this time, they'd made a mistake. They'd given me a specific, verifiable detail. The next morning, I screenshot the call log showing my conversation with the hospital and saved it. I didn't post it anywhere, didn't confront anyone. I just saved it, building my own evidence file. 2 days later, Lily texted me from a number I didn't recognize. "Mom took my phone, using friends. She's planning something big. Be careful." Before I could respond, the message was deleted. My anxiety skyrocketed. What could be bigger than faking a hospitalization? I found out 3 days later when I arrived at work to find my boss, Mr. Chen, waiting for me with a concerned expression. "Marcus, we need to talk," he said, gesturing to his office. My stomach dropped as I followed him. He closed the door and turned to face me, his expression grave. "We received a call this morning," he said slowly, "from someone claiming to be your mother. She said you've been stealing money from her, that you have a gambling addiction, and she's considering pressing charges." I felt the blood drain from my face. "Mr. Chen, that's not true. I can show you my bank statements. I can prove." He held up a hand. "I believe you, Marcus. The story didn't add up, and frankly, it doesn't match the person I know you to be. But I wanted you to know what's being said." I sank into a chair, my legs suddenly unable to support me. She was trying to destroy my career now, the one thing I had left. "Take the day off," Mr. Chen said kindly. "Sort this out. Your job is safe, but you need to handle whatever's going on." I drove home in a daze, my mind racing. How far would she go? What else would she do? As I pulled into my apartment complex, I noticed a familiar car in the parking lot. My mother's Mitsubishi. She was leaning against it, arms crossed, wearing designer sunglasses and a coat that probably cost more than my monthly rent. When she saw me, she pushed off the car and walked over. "We need to talk," she said. "There's nothing to talk about," I replied, trying to walk past her. She grabbed my arm. "You're destroying our family. Your sisters are suffering. Is your pride really worth more than their well-being?" I yanked my arm away. "They seemed pretty happy at Disney Disney World. Her face went pale for a split second before the mask slipped back on. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you don't. I started walking toward my apartment. If you don't start sending money again, things are going to get worse for you, she called after me. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of son you really are. I stopped and turned back. You mean the kind who gave you 60% of his income while living in poverty? That kind? The kind who abandons his family when they need him most, she shot back. The kind who accuses his mother of lying when she's just trying to survive. With designer bags and spa treatments? Her jaw clenched. You don't know what you're talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about, I said quietly, and I'm done being your ATM. Her face twisted into something ugly. You'll regret this. She got in her car and peeled out of the parking lot, leaving me standing there, shaking with a mixture of anger and fear. That night, I couldn't eat. I just sat on my mattress, staring at my phone, waiting for the next attack. It came in the form of a group message to our extended family WhatsApp group, one I'd been removed from, but could still see screenshots of thanks to a sympathetic cousin who forwarded them to me. My mother had posted a long message detailing how I'd supposedly shown up at her house hammered, demanding money back for gifts I'd given freely, threatening her and my sisters when they refused. She claimed she was considering a restraining order for their safety. The responses were immediate and harsh. Relatives I'd known my whole life were calling me dangerous, unstable, a threat. Some were offering to help her pay for legal protection against me. Others were sharing their own stories of how I'd supposedly wronged them. Lies built on lies, creating a narrative where I was some kind of monster. I wanted to scream, to defend myself, to show them all the bank transfers, the evidence of her lies. But I knew it would just make me look more desperate, more unstable in their eyes. She'd poisoned the well so thoroughly that anything I said would be seen as the ravings of a guilty man. The next few weeks were hell. My mother's campaign against me escalated daily. She called my workplace repeatedly until they had to block her number. She showed up at my apartment complex, telling neighbors I was dangerous. She even contacted my college friends on social media, warning them about my supposed gambling addiction and violent tendencies. Some friends stood by me, but others distanced themselves, unsure what to believe. The isolation was crushing. I found myself checking locks obsessively, looking over my shoulder constantly, jumping at every unexpected knock. Then, one evening, Lily showed up at my door again. This time, she looked terrified. I can't stay long, she said, glancing around nervously. Mom's getting worse. She's talking about taking legal action, saying you stole from her when you lived at home. She's been going through old photos, creating fake evidence. Lily, you need to tell someone, I said desperately. This is getting out of hand. I can't, she cried. You don't understand what she's like when she's angry. She'll make my life hell. She already monitors everything I do, reads all my messages. I had to sneak out just to come here. Then why did you come? She pulled out a small USB drive. I've been recording things. When she doesn't know, her admitting stuff, planning things. I thought you should have it, in case you need it. I took the drive with shaking hands. Lily, this is dangerous. If she finds out, she won't, Lily said firmly. I'm careful, but I can't watch her destroy you anymore. You gave up everything for us, and we let her poison us against you. Before I could respond, her phone buzzed. Her face went white as she read the message. She knows I'm gone. I have to go. She turned to leave, then paused. I'm sorry for everything. We should have stood by you. After she left, I plugged in the USB drive with trembling fingers. What I found made my blood run cold. Hours of audio recordings. My mother coaching my sisters on what to say about me. Planning the fake hospital photo. Laughing about how gullible I was. Discussing her shopping trips and spa days while complaining she needed more money from me. But the worst was a recent recording. My mother on the phone with someone, discussing how to forge documents to make it look like I'd stolen money from her over the years. She was building a legal case, complete with fabricated evidence. I backed up everything immediately, sending copies to a secure cloud storage and to Aunt Patricia. I finally had proof, but I didn't know what to do with it. If I released it publicly, Lily would be in danger. If I didn't, my mother might actually succeed in her legal threats. The next day at work, I was called into HR. My heart sank as I walked to their office. Sure, I was about to be fired despite Mr. Chen's assurances. Marcus, the HR director, Ms. Williams, said gently, we've been receiving some concerning communications about you. While we don't believe them, we need to document everything for legal purposes. Can you tell us what's going on? I broke down, told her everything. The money, the lies, the escalating harassment. She listened without judgment, taking notes. Do you have any evidence of this harassment? She asked. I thought about the USB drive. Yes, but it could put my youngest sister in danger if I use it. She nodded thoughtfully. Marcus, this is serious. Your mother is engaging in defamation and harassment. We'll support you however we can, but you might want to consider getting a lawyer. A lawyer? With what money? I'd given everything to my family, but I thanked her and left, feeling more lost than ever. That evening, my apartment door was open when I got home. Not broken, just open. My heart hammered as I stepped inside. Nothing was missing, but things had been moved, searched. On my mattress was a note in my mother's handwriting. Last chance. chance. Send the money or I file charges tomorrow. I called the police, but without evidence of breaking and entering. She'd apparently had a key made at some point. They couldn't do much. They took a report and left, leaving me feeling more vulnerable than ever. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat up thinking about my options. I could give in, start sending money again, hope she'd leave me alone, but I knew it would never end. She'd always want more, always have another crisis, another threat, or I could fight back, but that meant potentially putting Lily at risk, destroying what was left of my family relationships, and facing whatever fabricated legal challenges my mother could create. As dawn broke, my phone rang. It was my third sister, the quiet one who rarely got involved in family drama. Marcus? Her voice was small, uncertain. I need to tell you something. About Mom. Can we meet? I agreed to meet her at a park halfway between us. My third sister, Emma, had always been the observer in our family, quiet but watchful. When I saw her sitting on a bench, hunched over with her hands clasped together, I knew something was seriously wrong. She looked up as I approached, and I could see she'd been crying. I sat down next to her, keeping some distance, unsure where her loyalties lay. I know about the recordings, she said without preamble. Lily told me everything. My stomach dropped. If Emma knew, who else did? She must have seen the panic on my face because she quickly added, just me. She needed someone to talk to. She's been having nightmares about what Mom might do if she finds out. Is Lily okay? I asked. Emma shook her head. Mom's been watching her like a hawk. She knows something's up. Yesterday she went through Lily's room while she was at school, tore it apart looking for something. She didn't find anything? No, but it's only a matter of time. Marcus, I need to tell you something. She took a deep breath. I've been keeping track too, of the money, where it goes. I stared at her. What? She pulled out her phone and showed me a spreadsheet. Detailed entries of purchases, trips, spa appointments, all cross-referenced with the dates I'd sent money. Why? I asked, genuinely confused. Because I knew it was wrong, she said, her voice breaking. But I was scared. We all were. You don't know what she's like when she doesn't get what she wants. The manipulation, the guilt trips, the threats. She told us if we didn't go along with it, she'd kick us out. Where would we go? I wanted to be angry, but looking at my sister's terrified face, I could only feel pity. They were victims too, in their own way. There's going to be a family gathering next week, Emma continued. Grandma's birthday. Everyone will be there. Mom's planning to stage something. I heard her on the phone. She's going to collapse, claim you've been harassing her, and the stress caused a heart episode. Of course she is, I muttered. But here's the thing, Emma said, leaning closer. Lily and I have a plan, if you're willing to trust us. I listened as she laid it out. It was risky, especially for my sisters, but it might be our only chance to expose the truth without destroying Lily in the process. The week passed in a blur of anxiety. I went to work, came home, and tried to act normal while my mother's threats escalated. She'd started texting me photos of legal documents she was preparing. My extended family had completely frozen me out. Even the grocery store clerk who'd known me since childhood looked at me with disgust. The day of Grandma's party arrived. I wasn't invited, obviously, but Emma had told me to be ready. I sat in my car a block away from the venue, my phone in my hand, waiting. The text came at 3:47 p.m. Now. I walked into the restaurant's private dining room to find my entire extended family gathered around tables. The conversation stopped dead when they saw me. My mother, standing near the center of the room, went rigid. What are you doing here? My uncle demanded, starting to stand. I invited him, Emma said, stepping forward. He has a right to be here. He's family. Not anymore, my mother spat. Get out before I call the police. Actually, Lily said, and I was shocked to see her stand up from where she'd been sitting. I think everyone needs to hear what Marcus has to say. My mother's face went white. Lily, sit down. No, Lily said, her voice shaking but determined. I'm tired of the lies. What lies? My grandmother asked, looking confused. This was it, the moment. I pulled out my phone, but before I could say anything, my mother clutched her chest and stumbled. My heart, she gasped, reaching for a chair. The stress. I can't. Several relatives rushed to her side. Someone called for water. Another person started dialing 911. It was perfectly executed, Oscar-worthy even, except Lily was ready. She's faking, Lily said loudly, holding up her own phone. Just like she faked my car accident, just like she faked being poor, just like she's faked everything. The room froze. My mother, mid-collapse, seemed to forget she was supposed to be having a heart episode. How dare you? She hissed at Lily. After everything I've done for you. You mean after everything Marcus did for us? Emma stepped beside Lily. While we went to Disney World and you bought designer bags? The relatives looked between my sisters and my mother, confusion evident on their faces. My mother straightened up, her fake heart attack forgotten. They're lying, she said desperately. He's turned them against me. He's manipulating them. Really? I finally found my voice. Like you manipulated Uncle Robert? The room went silent. Uncle Robert, who'd been standing in the corner, stepped forward. What did you just say? Ask Aunt Patricia, I said. She told me everything. How you did the same thing to him years ago. My mother's mask finally slipped completely. The caring, struggling single mother vanished, replaced by someone I'd never seen before. Someone calculating and cold. You have no proof, she said. Actually, Lily said, her finger hovering over her phone screen. I do. What followed was the most damning 2 minutes of audio I'd ever heard. scared. My mother's voice, clear as day, talking to someone on the phone. He's so gullible, thinks he's helping his poor family. Meanwhile, I'm planning our next vacation. The girls want to go to Europe this time. No, he'll never find out. I've got him trained. One sob story and he sends more money. The fake hospital photo? Genius, right? Cost me $50 to have it made but got me $5,000. The recording ended. The room was tomb silent. Every face was turned toward my mother, expressions ranging from shock to disgust. That's AI, my mother stammered. They faked my voice. Technology these days can stop, my grandmother said quietly. She looked older than I'd ever seen her, disappointment etched in every line of her face. Just stop. My mother looked around the room, searching for support, for anyone who still believed her. She found nothing but condemnation. I did what I had to do, she said, her voice turning hard. Do you know how hard it is raising 4 kids alone? I deserved something for myself. You deserved Marcus's entire paycheck? Emma asked. While he lived in squalor? While he ate ramen every day? He chose that, my mother shouted. I never asked him to live like that. You told him we were starving, Margot said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. She'd been silent until now, but tears were streaming down her face. You said we needed the money for food, for rent. You made us lie to him. Margot, my mother warned. No, Margot said, standing up. I'm done. Marcus, I'm so sorry. We all are. She told us you'd abandoned us if we didn't play along. Said you only sent money because you felt guilty, not because you loved us. We were kids. We believed her. The dam broke. Relatives started sharing their own stories. Money borrowed and never returned. Emergencies that turned out to be shopping sprees. Lies upon lies, spanning years. My mother stood in the center of it all, no longer the victim, but finally exposed as the perpetrator. She looked smaller somehow, diminished without her web of deception to prop her up. I think you should leave, my grandmother said to her. And don't come back until you're ready to make amends. Real amends. My mother grabbed her purse, her movements sharp and angry. She stopped in front of me on her way out. This is your fault, she hissed. You've destroyed our family. No, I said quietly. You did that all on your own. She left without another word. The room remained quiet for a moment before Uncle Robert approached me. I'm sorry, he said. We should have warned you. Should have tried harder. One by one, relatives came up to apologize, to express their shock, to offer support. It was overwhelming, but what mattered most were my sisters. Lily hugged me first, sobbing apologies into my shirt. Emma joined, then Margot. Even my second oldest sister, Sarah, who'd been silent through everything, came over. We have a lot to figure out, Sarah said, but we want to do it together, as a real family this time. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. My sisters moved in with various relatives temporarily while they figured out their next steps. My mother disappeared, though she occasionally sent nasty texts until my sisters blocked her. I helped where I could, but I was firm about boundaries. No more money without accountability. No more sacrificing my well-being for others. It was hard, breaking patterns that had been built over years, but necessary. Lily ended up moving in with Aunt Patricia to finish high school. Emma got a part-time job and started community college. Margot and Sarah found an apartment together, both working to support themselves for the first time. As for me, I slowly started rebuilding. I moved to a better apartment, one with actual furniture. I started eating real food again. I even went on a vacation, my first in years. My relationship with my sisters grew stronger than ever. Without our mother's poison between us, we could finally be honest with each other. We had family dinners every Sunday, taking turns cooking. We shared our struggles and successes without manipulation or ulterior motives. 6 months later, we heard from our mother. She'd moved to another state and was apparently telling people there about her ungrateful children who'd abandoned her. Same song, different audience. We decided not to engage. She'd made her choices. The USB drive Lily had given me remained safely stored, insurance against any future attempts at manipulation. But as time passed, I thought about it less and less. I'd spent so many years trying to be the provider, the protector, the one who held everything together. But in the end, the best thing I did for my family was refusing to enable the dysfunction anymore. My sisters and I still struggle sometimes with guilt, with the feeling that we should reach out to our mother, try to fix things. But we remind each other that you can't fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. You can only protect yourself and break the cycle. These days, when I think about that 12-year-old kid watching Despicable Me, I don't feel sad. He had the right idea, wanting to take care of his family. He just didn't know that sometimes the best way to take care of people is to stop enabling their worst behaviors. My bank account is slowly recovering. My relationships are healthier. And for the first time in my adult life, I'm actually happy. That's the real plot twist, I guess. The best revenge wasn't making her pay. It was simply choosing to live well without her.